we're going to start in constructive rest, but you have the option to do this waterfall arrangement where you can either use a bolster or a sofa cushion, and I've used a block and then a folded blanket, and then I've put another one there, but cushions suffice, they can do that. You might not find that comfortable at all. You may prefer to be lying on your mat with a pillow or a bolster underneath the knees perhaps. Or if you want to, you can have your feet mat width apart, your knees together, and then just making sure that back's onto the ground. Or you could be in Shavasana, just lying there if you want to do so. If you are just letting some people in. If you are a sandbag user, so a sandbag is a really heavy bag, or you want something heavy, then you can put that underneath your navel here. You can pop something over the eyes if you wish to, just taking your time. And I'll be repeating all this in a moment anyway as the other people come in. Of course, you can place a cushion underneath your head if you've not gone for the waterfall option. We just take our time, yes, wrap up in blankets. I hadn't mentioned that, had I? Might wrap up in blankets if that suits you. And then just making sure that the neck is lovely and long. So just tuck the chin in a little bit, and that gives a signal to the nervous system that we want to go into rest and digest rather than a doing mode. And if you don't have something over your eyes, we'll have them very softly closed. Space between the shoulder blades, in whatever position you're in, just nestling those shoulders down a little. Allowing the arms to relax, soft into the palms of the hands and the fingers. Let go with the belly, back of the waist. Releasing the hips. And then consciously letting go with the thigh muscles, just let them relax. The lower legs, and then spacious into the soles of the feet, into the toes. So we release into the ground. This session is all about the turning of the wheel of the year into this 6-week period between Imbolc, which was at the beginning of February, and the spring equinox. So where we're starting to see signs of life, buds on trees, birds are getting busier. Snowdrops are making their way. Some of us have even seen crocuses and daffodils. There'll be lambs in the fields soon. So we're celebrating this time of the year. So I'll read you a poem. So this one is by Kai Seidenberg, who's one of my favourite poets, and it's Becoming Spring. So if you're just coming in, just come to lying down in a comfortable way, supported, covering the eyes. So becoming spring, the nights are still long and dark, but each day there's a little more light. The The mornings are still chilly with frost, yet the sharp edge of the cold is softening. The branches are still stark and bare, yet their buds swell with the promise of vibrant leaves and bright blossoms. The bulbs are still deep in subterranean slumber, yet they are gently stirring with dreams of spring. The birds, having flown south to warmer climes, are feeling the familiar tug to return home. Yes, it's still winter, but it's becoming spring. We're just spending the last 2 or 3 minutes here in silence and stillness. Now just taking a few deeper breaths. As we go through our practices, I'll read through some of them, and some of them I'll leave you to be still and silent. We won't be holding any for longer than about 3 minutes, apart from for our final relaxation, of course. So for now, let's bring some movement to tips of toes and tips of fingers. If you have something heavy onto your tummy, just pop that gently to one side. If you are lying on a platform, as I demonstrated earlier, just gradually maybe roll to one side a little so that you can remove things from underneath the back one at a time and eventually be on the ground. And if you have your legs supported somehow, then draw them into the body one at a time, pop your support to one side. And then when you've done all that, just have a little gentle stretch in a way that suits you now. Okay, lovely. So our first pose is going to be a twist. Our second pose, I should say, is going to be a twist. And this is a supine twist. As though yin regulars will know, there are many ways to twist. So we're going to go over to the right side first of all with the knees. And you can bring your knees down onto a platform, so onto a pillow or a bolster. And if you like, you can place a block or a folded blanket in between the knees as you come over. So you don't have to go deeply into the twist. It's up to you as to how deeply you go in. And then, so the knees are over to the right. And if you want a deeper twist, a deeper stretch, you can take the left hand behind the head or overhead. And then the right arm, just have it a little way away from the body so you have space into the armpit. Good, so we'll be here for about 3 minutes. So just let go with the breath, let it flow. Perhaps just gently encouraging the exhale to be a little longer than the inhale. But I really don't want you to concentrate too much on the breath, but more about that sense of letting go and of connecting with the ground, which has got so much potential in it for life at the moment. This is welcoming Imbolc. The sun will rise again. The gnarled branches will bloom. The forest will yawn, and sleepy sighs will follow. The frost will melt, and the soil will give birth to a new world. Dawn is coming. The creatures sing with her arrival. Gone will be the ice that separated us from her warmth. Shadows will dissipate, and the wild will grow anew. Our bodies will thrive. My body is her garden, soothed by her presence, awakened by her opening eyes. I am a part of her. One with the earth and the creatures roaming. This is our rebirth, our celebration. Together we welcome the morning. We feast through the glorious day, and by firelight we pray for the harvest. Welcome, spring, we have been waiting. So just one more minute to be in stillness and silence. You could go a little deeper if you wish, remain as you are, or just ease out at any time. I'll let you know when a minute's up. So we mentally prepare for movement, and then we very gently release the arm if it's behind the head or raised above the head. We bring the top knee up to the centre and the bottom knee up to the centre, and then we pause. So we can draw the knees in towards the chest. We can just rest in semi-supine with the feet on the ground. Just up to you. We have these pauses in between the poses where we realign the body and we allow the body, the mind, to absorb the practice that we've just hopefully enjoyed. There should be no striving, no pushing. It's just a gentle arriving at the pose. So now let's go to the other side. So the knees are now going over to the left. Again, you can come down onto a platform, pop something in between the knees. We know it may feel differently on this side to the other. And once you're comfortable with your knees over to the side, you might like to take that right hand behind the head or overhead, so you get a deeper stretch. And then just settling down for the next 3 minutes. This time in silence. Just another minute and ease into a deeper form of the pose. You can ease out a little or stay as you are. Then preparing for movement. So bring the arm down if it's raised, raising the top leg back to centre, bringing the other leg up. And then again, either bringing the knees into the chest or remaining in semi-supine, or something else that you feel that your body needs right now. And then come to lying on one side. Tuck the knees up towards the chest, place the top hand underneath the cheekbone and wrap the other arm around yourself. That's quite fetal position. And then from here we'll very gently just lift up into sitting just for a moment whilst I demonstrate the next pose. Okay, so this isn't rocket science. It's child's pose. So, but it's child's pose and we're holding it for 3 minutes. So comfort is key. So we could have a blanket to kneel on, and there's options. If you don't want to kneel, there are options, and I'll go into those in a sec. And your knees can be together or apart. Some of you might just like to do a child's pose down to the ground with your arms outstretched or underneath the head or down by the sides. 3 minutes we're there for though. So some of you may like to get a bolster or a pillow or something and place it underneath, in between the knees, and then we can come down like so, or maybe have the head onto a folded blanket or a cushion or something. And then the arms can just relax by the sides of your support, whatever you have to hand. But you may, as I say, be quite happy in a child's pose directly on the ground. If you don't want to kneel, then I suggest sitting, and we can sit in a comfortable way, like so, if you'd rather do that. Okay, so make yourselves comfortable. Those of you with sandbags, if you're Houdini, you could place that on the base of your spine, or just above the base of the spine, here, on that lumbar area. Sacral area rather, if you were not the lumbar, the sacral area if you want to do so. So make sure that you feel comfortable and supported. Good. And I'll read Spring to you, this one's called. Spring is the time to see how it all begins. For what is way beneath the ground or hibernating in the spring shows itself and nature in its splendour. For what decays and withers, the spring shows its second coming. From what lay beneath the ground all winter, spring renews in growth. And Mother Nature shows her splendour. Come the first signs of spring. We all start feeling somewhat better. Another minute here. Continue in stillness and silence. If you have your head turned one way, turn it the other. We're gently going to prepare for movement once again. So just very kindly, slowly coming up. And you're going to make your way into the stick pose, Dandasana, with your legs outstretched and your toes towards you and your fingertips just down by the sides, or your hands if you've got longer arms than me on the ground. We'll only be there for half a minute or so, just to stretch those legs out. And I can also show you what we're going to do next whilst you're just stretching your legs out. So our next pose, we come down to the ground and we take one leg out to the side, so my knee's bent. If you can't, it looks like that, but I'm lying on the ground. And then my hands, well, I'm going to put mine underneath my forehead there. Now, if that's not comfortable, we can, again, use a pillow or some kind of platform. And we can come down onto that, just have the leg out. And you don't get quite as much stretch into the thigh then and the hip. It's a gentler form, much gentler if you've got padding underneath you. So if you'd like now to come out of that staff pose, as some of you have, and start to make yourself comfortable into this one. Anybody who's not happy lying on the ground could lie on their back. Well, I should say, we are lying on the ground, I meant lying on your tummy. You could lie on your back and just have the knee in towards the chest and maybe take it out to the side slightly so you still get that stretch into the upper leg and into the opening into the hip. Okay, so we're all settled, I think. Yeah, so 3 minutes. So this is a slightly more pagan poem / reading. just by somebody I found online who goes by the name of Christina, but no surname. Bowl of clear water engraved with spirals, etched into mist within glass. Spiral stone, heart, shell, and one lone candle light my way through the stars, shimmering in midnight deep sky. Imbolc maiden renews my spirit. Jasmine petals floating in water, the last winter offering before spring, planting seeds within my belly, weathering grief to bring my joy into the world. Night of the new moon brings darkness, welcome dark, softly falling around my shoulders. The new lies waiting underground, vulnerable, tender, fragile, strong. Making my giveaway to the last song of winter's howling winds in this new and empty space, I open to the unknown, finding the courage of the maiden to allow growth to swell and bloom in the heart of winter storm, to say to the world, this is who I am. One more minute. Ease off a little or stay as you are. So then preparing for movement, taking that leg down. If you've got something underneath you, possibly pop it to one side now so you can come to lying prone on the ground, legs outstretched, neck nice and long, just for our in-between resettling, realigning pose, our absorbing pose. Good, and then we'll do that to the other side then. So this time the left leg, and we know it might be different on one side to the other. I know I repeat that a lot, but it's worth saying. So on one side you may want to go stronger, on one side you may want to not go quite so deep. So take your choice on this side. Three minutes. And this time in silence, stillness, feeling into that potential in the ground beneath you. Perhaps concentrating on the exhalation being long and slow, releasing, apana breath, letting go. Another minute. So then gently preparing for movement, and as you're ready, return to that prone pose with your legs outstretched. They could be together, they could be apart. If you find that your legs actually need a stretch, you could come onto your toes and just push the heels away, lifting the knees slightly. Now we're going to roll over onto the opposite side to the way that you were ages ago, it feels like now. So whichever side that you were on, when we had the knees tucked in, the hand underneath the cheek, the other hand wrapped around. Can you remember which side it was on? Don't get too hung up on it if you've forgotten. Roll to the other side. And then let's gently make our way up. We're going to next do a supported forward fold. So in supported, there's even more options to this and everything else really. So you could not be supported, in all fairness. You could have your knees bent. I wouldn't, if you can forward fold like so, I really wouldn't recommend holding that for 3 minutes. It's far too harsh, particularly for a yin. We're not supposed to be harsh. So we could have the knees bent and we're coming down, and normally in a forward fold we'd have a lovely straight back, etc. We don't have to with this, we can let go. Options, if you have one of these sturdy bolsters, it's not a squishy one like that one, you could have that on your feet and on your forehead and be like that. You could have anything on the body and then you can come down, but that means having your legs straight, so you might find that a little strong. You could have something underneath the knees and then have something on top of the legs and come down. In fact, doing that, I forgot that, I quite like something underneath my leg, my ankles, as my heels even, as well. So that's an option. So you want to give it a go, see what is most comfortable for you. But as long as your legs are together, we don't want them apart. So I'm not suggesting that you do that one. I want your legs together because we've had a really good stretch on the inner thighs and we want to bring everything back in. And then we can relax the arms. The head can drop down contrary to a usual class, and we can start that Apana process. So those who don't know, Apana is the exhale, it's the release, it's anywhere, any function in the body where we're letting go. So I'm sure you can think of several of those. But in this case, it's the release into the ground. So we're letting tension flow, we're letting the breath go, and that exhale is lovely and long. Okay, so we've got about another 2.5 minutes here. So this is called Gradual Unfolding, and it's another one of Kai's. And it's a little early, but I don't mind. Gradual Unfolding. Thank you, Japanese maple leaves, for opening so gradually, for giving me not just hours or days, but weeks to delight in the miracle of your unfolding. The miracle of nature. Just another minute here. So then we're going to slowly think about moving, taking an inhale and gently coming up. Anything underneath the legs, take it away, and again stretch those legs out. Maybe take the hands behind you and just open the heart centre a little, bringing the shoulder blades together. We're going into a back bend next, so we don't need too much of a back bend there. Just a little stretch. And you can do that whilst I demonstrate. So the next one's quite familiar as a back bend. It's the Sphinx pose. So with Sphinx, you could have, so don't do it just yet, just listen and watch. You could have a blanket underneath the hips if that's more comfortable. You can come onto your forearms. So as traditional Sphinx is forearms, elbows just in front of the shoulders. We relax the feet to the sides and your arms are parallel to each other and the chest is open, shoulders down looking forward. It's quite a lot to hold. You could go into teenage pose, so you could bring your chin into the cupped hands and just splay your elbows a little if you'd like to do that. Or we could use our famous supports. So something squashy is best. So if you have something squashy, you could come onto a rigid one. I think that's probably best. And you could have that underneath you and have your arms wherever you'd like them to be. Okay, so would you like to have a crack at that? Yeah, take your time. Good. So if you are going for a self-supporting back bend rather than coming down onto a pillow or something, you can release if you're finding it a bit much after a couple of minutes, whatever. So we've got 3 minutes. And I'm going to read you quite a pagan poem. I don't know who it's by, can't find the author. It's called Imbolc. So it's a bit of history, isn't it? A bit of history. This is the wolf month, savage, bitter. The icy wind brings worst of winter. February is harsh, cold and drear. Also the dead month, the time of fear. But new life springs, even in the cold. Ravens build nests, larks singing bold. Lambs are born, new blades of grass. Time of light in dark, of Candlemas. The Cailleach, old woman of winter, ends her rule. even seeming colder. Reborn, a young maiden of spring, bride comes, birds begin to sing. Bride with her white wand brings breath into winter. Awakenings. Dead winter opens eyes to tears, smile and laughter now appear. The sun rekindles its fire brighter, spring, fragile hope of the warmer times. Green shoots on the bough, new seed with spade and plough. Plat St. Bridget's Cross, gift food. Lay on windowsill for plenitude. Place in stables, bless the beasts. St. Bride's Eve is time for feasts. Imbolc is here, the Celtic Sabbath. So light candles in every habitat. Celebrate the ever-dawning light. Days lengthen, all will be right. And we've got another 30 seconds just to rest this final time. And so to ease back down to the ground into that prone position once again. Popping any supports to one side, releasing down. And then gradually bring yourselves into a child's pose. So bringing the hands, so they're underneath the shoulders, and then you can push to the hands, lift the hips at the same time. And then just bring them back, the hips to heels, just for a few seconds. As we get a form of back bend into, forward fold after that back bend. And then we can come to our final pose before relaxation. So a very simple one to finish with. We're going to simply have our knees into our chest in this Upasana pose. I sort of get the feeling of a seed waiting underground, or a bud just starting to form. So we can hug them in. Don't raise your head. Keep your head on the ground. But you can hug behind the thighs or onto the shins. Just make sure your chin's tucked in so your neck is lovely and long, and that your shoulders are relaxed down. So find space between the shoulder blades and just nestle them down. And then soften the face and softly close the eyes. And feel into that potential for life, that seed underneath the ground, or that bud just starting to form. And just another minute here. Okay, so then gently release those feet one at a time to the ground. And then it's time for our final pose, which is our relaxation pose, which is the most complicated one of all, really, because there's so many choices. So there's the waterfall that we did at the beginning, or that I suggested you could do at the beginning, but you didn't have to. That is one we could revisit if you like. You could take your legs up a wall or onto a chair or something so that they're supported, or have your bolster, your pillows, whatever, underneath the knees and have your feet on the ground. Or you could do good old Shavasana, so legs outstretched, arms down by the sides. If you have a tickle in your throat, and you might be more comfortable lying on one side so that doesn't interfere. Make sure you're going to be warm though, so you've got all of your warm things on. Can place an eye covering. If you've got specs on, you might want to put them to one side, whether you might be more comfortable with them on, of course. You could use an eye covering. Those that like something heavy on that lower belly, then place something there. But crucially, as you come down, your main focus is on being warm and comfortable. Okay, good. So then let's soften into the ground. So releasing the scalp, softening the forehead, the eyes, nose, cheeks, temples, ears, lips. Let the lower jaw just fall away from that upper jaw, but keep those lips softly closed if you can, and the tongue rests lightly behind the top teeth. Your neck is lovely and long, giving that all-important rest and digest message to your body. Throat open, and the shoulders soft and spacious. Your arms resting wherever they are most comfortable. That could be on the body, could be out to the side, down by the sides. Release those upper arms, the forearms, soften into the palms of the hands and the fingers. Let the rib cage widen, the belly soften, the back of the waist drop down towards the ground. Your pelvis widens, your buttocks soften and have that quality of balloons that are half filled with water. Releasing the muscles of the thighs, releasing the lower legs, softening into the soles of the feet and the toes. And the whole body having this apana quality, this letting go to the ground quality. Your breath with a gentle rhythm. No sense of control, just an awareness of that rolling in and rolling out of the breath. Take your awareness to sounds outside of your space, without labelling any sounds. And then sounds inside your space, again without labels. Come within to the sound of your breath. Perhaps some other sounds from your body. A little gurgling from the tummy is a good thing. And see if you can move away even from those sounds This is Imbolc by Caroline Meller. I am the dream of awakening. I am the returning of the light. I am the tough green shoot pushing up through the pavestones. I am the first kiss of sunlight on the unfurling petals of the snowdrop. I am the wind which whispers the gentle pull of home to the migratory bird. I am the drop of ice melting on the mountainside with its great dream of the ocean. I am the sap rising in the blossom tree just before it reveals its sticky buds to the sky. I am the riotous celebration humming away beneath the earth's mantle of frozen sleep. I am the rousing of the bee from its winter slumber and the soft pad of the mother wolf's paw on the snow as she prepares to birth her pups. I am hope, potential, rebirth and promise. I am the kindling breath which transforms the flicker of inspiration in your creative core into a blazing torch. Give me the silent crescent moon rising over the sea, and I will build you a bridge of silver light so you can walk up and lie in it. Give me the frost-hardened wilderness, and I will breathe radiant green light over it. Give me the healer, the writer, the craftsperson, and the storyteller, and I will replenish her essence and make her new again. Tonight I bestow my gifts of power and courage at the heart of your soul. Power to step out of the shadows of self-doubt and negativity which have held you in darkness for too long. Power to shed all that which no longer serves you, and courage to clear your heart and mind for the dawn that awaits you. I am the time to honour your unique gifts for their true worth, and to protect and nurture your creative self as you would a child. I am the deep longing of the spirit which refuses to be consumed by a narrative of fear and chooses instead to place itself vivaciously on the side of love. I am the stirring in your belly which knows exactly what you are capable of and that it's time the world found out. I am the fire within which will not be contained any longer. I am the quickening. I am the serpent uncoiling. I am Imbolc. I am the dream of awakening. If you wish to, please do remain in relaxation, wrapped up warm and cosy as you are. If it's time for you to release the practices for tonight, then just gently starting to deepen the breath, giving that all-important signal to the body, to the mind, that it's time for you to move. You may like to just bring a little movement to toes, fingers. Perhaps if you've got something heavy on your tummy, just popping that to one side. If you've chosen the waterfall method of relaxation, then gently taking out those things that are supporting you so your back meets the ground. And if you have your legs up the wall or onto a chair, then gently draw them into the chest one at a time. then you may like to just roll over onto one side. Not prescriptive as to which one. Just as we did earlier, with the knees in, one hand under the cheek, the other hand wrapping around. If that's a comforting thing to do, a comfortable thing to do. If you're lying on your side, you may like to gently open your eyes there. But some of you may prefer to come up to sitting and practice palming. So whichever one of those you'd like to do, if you're gently opening your eyes on one side, then do stay there if you'd like to. But if you want to come to sitting gently, then do. So many choices. Those that are practicing palming with rubbing together, creating warmth and then cupping them over the closed eyes. Allowing the eyes to open into that dark, protected space before letting the light gently trickle in. And then we'll just all, wherever you are, wish each other Om Shanti for peace. Om Shanti.